Hey, I'm Liza. You might have seen me make a bunch of sculptures. I usually do animal sculptures. And you might have noticed that I use glass eyes in most of my sculptures. So today, I want to show you how to make those. I make them in 3 different ways, and I feel like a lot of sculptors gatekeep this. I don't want to gatekeep from you, so I'm going to show you some different sculptures I've made using this technique, and then I'm going to show you how to do it. Stay tuned. So here's a cat that I made. You can see that it has little cabochons, is what they're called, eyes. This one is 6 millimeter, and this one is one of the bigger ones. Same thing. You can get them in multi-packs on Amazon. And this one I did in a completely different technique where I made the whole eye one color. So first I want to start with some scrap Sculpey. I put it through the pasta machine, and here is what a blank cabochon looks like. This is a 6 millimeter one. Then I'm going to insert them into the Sculpey. Don't push them down too much, but just enough that they're not going to move around once I go to paint them. And then I use cheap craft paint to paint these. It's acrylic paint. And instead of using a paintbrush, which I believe is a little harder to control in this situation, I'm going to use some ballpoint tools. So these ballpoint tools or styluses or whatever you want to call them come in all sorts of different sizes depending on what kind of pupil you want to make. I had a whole set of these, and for this particular instance, I'm going to use the biggest one of these. I think this should work. So we're going to just pull out a paper towel, test it there a few times, make sure the paint's coming off right. And then I'm just going to go ahead and dot the back. Now the round part is facing down. Keep that in mind. This is the bottom of it, so to speak. So I'm going to dot that until I have the size that I want. This is a little smaller than I was hoping for, so I'm going to grab this bigger ballpoint tool. This is actually one of my Sculpey tools. It's got a different side on the back. So I'm going to go ahead and do it again with this bigger ballpoint. That's exactly what I like. So I'm going to do the rest of these top ones, and then the bottom ones we're going to do as slits. So those look good. Now I'm going to take a silicone tip tool, and I'm going to make the slits. I'm going to put a little dot in the middle to mark the middle, and then I'm going to make, cat eyes or snake eyes, whatever you want to call this. But using the pointy silicone end tool, I think, is a little easier than a paintbrush, but to each their own. I'm going to paint the rest of the backs of these, and then once they're all done, I'm going to let them dry all the way. Once they're dry, we can go to the next step. I'm going to choose 2 that look the most similar to each other, similar size, similar shape. We want to make sure that they look like they're a pair. And once we figure out which 2 those are, I'm going to take the 2 on the left and the 2 in the middle for these, and I'm going to save the other ones for a different technique. So for the circles, I'm going to use this brown paint on the back, and that's most of your animals. They have brown eyes. I'm going to make sure it's covered, but I don't want it on the sides. And then I'm going to do the same things for these slit eyes. I have some already done for you to see. I made some blue ones here, and then I made some brown ones, and those are the paint backs. You can just slide them into your sculpt just like this. Now for these ones that I didn't put paint behind the pupil, I'm going to use clay. And this is good when you need different color eyes, but you don't know ahead of time what color you need. So I'm making green here. I'm going to put a tiny piece of clay on the back. You don't want too much, because once you put it into the head, you don't want it to squish out the sides. Now these I actually bought, but you can make them as well. You can print out all of these little eyes on a piece of paper, and then you glue the front of them to the bottom of the bead. You can make them much more detailed this way because you can print out whatever is on your computer. Well, I hope that was helpful for you. I hope it was easy to understand and easy to follow. If you have any questions, please comment. I'd be happy to answer your questions. And if you want to send me some pictures of how you use this in your sculptures, I would love to see it. Thanks. Have a great day.